Hello and welcome to the third video blog for this political risk analysis course. And there's two areas I just want to touch on briefly. First of all is on the risk mitigation and management areas, some examples we've got going on at the moment. And then secondly on the regulatory areas, which are naturally part of the units that you're focusing on from this week. Now for the risk mitigation management part, you would read about the export credit agencies as being a valuable part for companies to be able to conduct business abroad, to be able to get loans for the clients abroad. One key one is the Export-Import Bank, or EXIM for short, EXIM in the US. US government backed. This may face the possibility that it will no longer exist in a couple of weeks' time, because Congress, some elements are saying this is unfair for some US businesses because they end up providing funding to foreign companies. And one such company that's really kind of struggling to try and maintain the Exim Bank to keep it going and has benefited from this is Boeing. Now, Boeing typically sells about a couple of dollars of money of aircraft per year, and within these sales, its clients routinely rely upon getting credit from the Exim Bank, so fairly good interest rates. And so Boeing can say, great, I will sell you these aircraft, and for the client you get this good loan rates, and as such it's good for Boeing, and we can do the deal, and it's then good for the client because it makes them easier to do business. However, people are saying, well, hang on a second, this may not be fair for, say, other US airlines. Why should the likes of, say, Delta Airlines, United, who have been complaining about the Exim and the way that Boeing's really benefited from this, you say, well, we as US airlines have to compete against foreign airline carriers who are benefiting from better loan rates, which they themselves can't get, like Delta United, because they can't get hold of the Exim Bank rates, but the likes of foreign airlines can. And so they're saying, why we're competing against these other airlines, say like Emirates and others. Why should they have an unfair position with us? Even though other countries do have this arrangement, this type of export credit agency. And also the nuclear industry have said that they are concerned that the demise of Exim may lead it more difficult for them to be able to sell nuclear reactors abroad. This is the US nuclear industry. With the nuclear industry overall worldwide really contracting, the pie getting smaller, competition is getting tougher, and so the US nuclear industry is saying, look, in order for us to be able to compete effectively, we must have the Exim legislation renewed, which has been done without any real problems for many years, except starting from last year, there's been tough political resistance. It was renewed last year eventually, and now we're facing for that renewal again this summer, and a potential for it to not to occur. So watch that space. Classic political risk situation which could be impacting Boeing, as well as a lot of smaller companies in the US who may struggle to get credit from their own lending providers and want a way they get an assurance that they can get the money when their companies abroad are looking to try and purchase from them, but can't purchase things outright. On the regulatory area, I'll be sending you just a couple of slides, about 3 or 4 slides on something called the World Bank Doing a Business. And this just kind of helps to supplement what you're looking at for this week. But it's a new report that came out this year, it's an annual report by the World Bank, and it lists a couple of interesting, useful points to say how they assess the regulatory environment in countries. And there's about just under a dozen or so areas you'll see from the slides about the ease of doing business, from getting building permits, filing taxes, all these things which collectively either help or hinder a company in operating abroad. So you don't need to look and read the report. I'll send you the link, but you don't need to read it. However, the key points are in the slides, and you may wish to sort of briefly look through the report itself. But nevertheless, kind of another live case, a good example there. But nevertheless, the slides kind of useful data points to supplement what you're kind of going through for this week. One other thing is that Walmart in trying to operate in India, it's also looking at how to manage the regulatory situation there. India is opening up, wanting greater foreign direct investment, has done the central government way for quite a number of years now, last 10-15 years. However, there are resistance at the local level, being more of a federalized structure in India, with local regions having quite strong influence on the ground. And they're being a little reluctant to say, well, if we let Walmart in or other big box type of companies, say Tesco's in the UK or Carrefour's in France, then is that going to undermine jobs for the Indian shops within the country itself? And also other challenges on the regulatory area. So again, a link on there I'll send you on that. And one final thing, TikTok, not talking necessarily about your midterm papers due on Monday, but about the Greek crisis. How that later this week they got the first of a series of big payments to get out, and really playing brinkmanship. I'll say more about that in the capital markets class, among other things, but watch that space. It's will they or won't they do the deal, or we're going to see something quite significant happening there. Great, well that wraps it up for this week. Let me know if you've got any questions. For your papers, if you want to send me your topics, look over, I'm happy to do that, to check that over. So have a good week, and I'll speak to you again next week for the next video blog. Thank you.